We've all seen it on TV, the lone detective who solves the case with a single magic blue light. It's great drama, for sure, but real-life crime scene investigation? That's a whole different ballgame. It's a world of super specialized tools and meticulous procedures, and today we're going to unpack the ultimate forensic toolkit.
So, what's really inside that iconic investigator's bag? Is it some kind of bottomless briefcase filled with high-tech gadgets? Well, the truth is actually way more strategic and honestly a lot cooler.
Yeah, the reality is there's no single, one-size-fits-all crime scene kit. It's really more like a specialized arsenal. You see, investigators have a whole system of kits, and each one is purpose-built for a very specific task. Think of it like a forensic Swiss Army knife, but with way more blades. Okay, so first things first. Before a single clue is even looked for, the absolute #1 priority is to lock it all down. This is, without a doubt, the most critical phase of the entire process. The very first officer on the scene has one job, and it's not solving the crime. It's to basically freeze time. They have to preserve that scene exactly as it is, because every single footprint, every stray fiber, every microscopic trace of DNA could be a crucial piece of the puzzle. Contamination. That's the ultimate enemy here. So what's in their kit? Well, it's all about control. They're armed with the tools to build a fortress around the scene. You've got barricade tape to seal off the perimeter, gloves and booties to prevent any contamination from them, and of course markers to flag potential evidence for the specialists who are on their way. And here's what those tools look like in action. You've got the iconic crime scene do not cross tape, those portable posts for setting up a quick perimeter, and the little evidence flags to mark potential clues. It's all about creating a totally controlled environment where the investigation can really begin. All right, so the scene is secure. The clock has stopped. Now before anything, and I mean anything, is touched or collected, a perfect, permanent record of the scene has to be created. This is where the real work kicks off, and it's a super strict step-by-step process. You secure, you photograph, you sketch, and only then do you collect. There are absolutely no shortcuts here, because you only get one shot to capture the scene in its original, pristine state. And when I say every detail, I mean every detail. The distance from the window to the victim, the exact angle of that overturned chair, the precise location of a single shell casing. It all gets meticulously measured and mapped out. This isn't just about snapping a few photos, it's about creating a complete forensic map of the entire scene. Now check this out. The tools on this slide, they look less like something out of a detective show and more like they belong on an architect's drafting table. We're talking protractors, compasses, and even little templates for furniture and human figures. This is some seriously technical drawing. This kit is just incredible. It's packed with everything an investigator needs to transform a chaotic, three-dimensional crime scene into a crystal clear 2D diagram that can tell the whole story to a jury, sometimes years down the road. All right, the scene is secure, it's been documented, and it's all mapped out. Now the real hunt begins, and this is where things start to get really interesting. Here's the thing about crime scenes. The most important clues are often the ones you can't even see. We're talking about latent fingerprints, microscopic fibers, trace amounts of DNA. To find them, you literally have to look at the scene in a whole new light. And I really do mean that literally. Investigators use these powerful, high-intensity lights that can make certain types of evidence, like bodily fluids, actually glow in the dark. It's kind of like a forensic blacklight party, just, with much higher stakes. So once a potential clue is spotted, it's time to get up close and personal. Investigators use a whole range of magnifiers, from simple handheld lenses to high-powered scopes, to examine the tiniest little details with just incredible precision. Okay, this is where it gets really high-tech. This device, and it's aptly called a sniffer, is basically a handheld electronic nose. It can detect and identify invisible, microscopic particles of things like explosives or narcotics, either in the air or on a surface. It's literally finding evidence by its chemical signature alone. Amazing! So the evidence has been found. Now comes the really tricky part: collecting it without contaminating or destroying it. And for this, investigators have a whole new lineup of specialized tools. First up, the classic calling card of any crime scene: fingerprints. The fingerprint kit is this fascinating mix of old-school techniques and modern chemistry. I mean, you've got your classic powders and brushes, sure, but you've also got these chemical enhancers. And get this, one of the most effective ones is cyanoacrylate. That's the same stuff that's in superglue. They can actually use it to make fingerprints appear out of thin air on really tricky surfaces.
Next up, biological evidence, which of course holds the key to DNA.
Now, when it comes to biological evidence, the name of the game is keeping things clean. The kit is packed with sterile swabs and vials to collect samples without any cross-contamination. It also has special chemicals that can give a quick, on-the-spot test to see if a suspicious stain is actually blood. And now for evidence that leaves a mark, but in 3 dimensions. So how do you capture a perfect impression of, say, a footprint in the mud or a tire track in the snow? The answer is right in this kit. Investigators use materials like dental stone, which is a super strong, fast-setting plaster, to create a perfect, durable cast of that impression. And finally, we have the tiniest and sometimes the most powerful clues of all. This is where things get really, really delicate. We're talking about collecting a single hair or a single fiber from a sweater, maybe a single grain of pollen. For this, investigators use specialized vacuums, electrostatic dust lifters, and these impossibly fine-tipped tweezers to gather these microscopic clues that can totally make or break a case. So we've seen this incredible array of technology and specialized equipment. But it's so important to remember that these kits, they're just that. They're tools. At the end of the day, all of this amazing technology is just a collection of objects. The real magic, if you want to call it that, happens in the mind of the investigator. It's their training, their experience, their intuition, and their relentless pursuit of the truth that turns a collection of random clues into a solved case. So I'll leave you with one final thought. After all of that painstaking work, the securing, the documenting, the collecting, which piece of evidence do you think ends up being the most powerful in a courtroom? Is it the perfect fingerprint, the undeniable DNA match, or that clear, perfectly cast footprint? The answer? Well, it just